Dry for most of the night with a few mist patches developing and lowest temperatures 5 to 8 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
In association with Air. Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
This is News Talk.
Greetings all, it is a do or die relegation six-pointer this evening in Swansea. Swansea Southampton kicks off shortly. We will look ahead with Pat and Nevin. We'll also look back on the weekend with Pat around 7:30 from Jose throwing Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford under the bus to increasing concerns over Liverpool tiredness. We'll have Billy Joe Padden and Ray Silk looking ahead to Mayo Galway, which is on this Sunday of course. We will bring you a Ronnie O'Sullivan interview recorded over the weekend at the Crucible with our own Shane Hannon. We have Andy West on El Clasico. We have Peter Smith from the Stoke Sentinel on where it all went wrong. Text number is 53106. We're on Twitter at Off The Ball. Richie McCormack here, hello.
Howdy, Joe.
And Kevin Kilbane, hello to you.
Hello, Joe. How you keeping?
Good. So, a show with Ronnie O'Sullivan on the way.
Yeah, very much so. Looking forward to that, actually.
What a thrill it was last night. I mean, we'll reflect on the full weekend sport, including the Bank Holiday Monday. What a thrill it was to turn on the snooker.
Yeah.
And to see Mark Williams versus John Higgins. It was 1998 all over again. I thought, this is fantastic. I'm into these two.
Yeah.
I care who wins this. And it was brilliant. 18-16 in the end. Williams at 43.
It was quick though, wasn't it? It was very quick, the frame. You know, something you're watching a lot of it, some of the snooker, particularly the finals, that nervousness takes over and it kind of slows the pace down. There's a lot more safety
They've both
involved.
been there before. I mean,
yeah.
6 world titles between them going in. But you could see it even during the course of the tournaments on the official live World Snooker website. They have the average shot time for each player during the frames. And I think Higgins and Williams were among the faster of the lot. They'd be giving you, knocking out a frame with 18, 19, 20 seconds a shot. There's other shams be doing like 25 to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Absolutely ruining my night, by the way. Keep me here until 10:30 and all sorts.
Oh yeah, you have to wait for the end. You have to wait for the end to
but
do
not
the
last
bulletins.
night, because obviously bank holidays are a blessing.
43 years old, Williams. So he's the oldest since Ray Reardon in 1978. Ray was 45.
Right.
Yeah. Williams was asked, how do you feel? He said slightly uncomfortable. He was naked at the time. We should say that. But he said, it's unbelievable. 12 months ago, I was thinking about chucking it in. Now here I am doing an interview having won the 2018 World Championship naked. So he was happy. I mean, he was never... I joined it at a sweet spot where Higgins was on that charge where he won 5 on the bounce and got back level.
That's when I actually joined it last night, yeah.
And even then, as Williams kicked on to ultimately win 18-16, he was never totally in control of the cue ball for a lot of the frames. He didn't finish off many frames in one visit. Had quite a few misses, so it was very entertaining, very exciting.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted them both to win, actually.
Yeah, it was. You may be saying there, I mean, it was quick actually. You weren't getting real quality century breaks every frame, were you? But the frames were over quickly because everything, it was very fast paced, a lot of misses, a lot of missed shots. That's nervousness as well, of course, but it was very exciting, I thought, and probably because it was those two as well. The familiar in my mind from even when I was growing up, you know. So it's quite funny.
But they are two. I mean, even still by today's standards, they're two beautiful players. I mean, Williams was all about these smashing in these long range pots. I mean, he was a sniper at times, and then Higgins just never hits the ball hard. There's a certain kind of elegance to John Higgins' play, and look, he was in the final just last year, so it's not like he's ever gone away to the extent Williams has. It seems Williams was really seriously thinking about retiring. So Ronnie O'Sullivan was speaking to Shane Hannon, and we'll play that out for you around 8:40. He was in good form. Interestingly, O'Sullivan, Williams and Higgins are all, in snooker terms, part of the class of 92. Came through in that same year.
Very good.
So there you are.
Look at your facts.
There you are. Meanwhile, Billy Joe Padden and Ray Silk on the way at 8 o'clock. It is the most hotly anticipated Connacht quarter-final in some time. 28,000 will be there. Yeah. This has been sold out for a few weeks.
Not him though.
I'm not there.
He's not allowed to be there. He's the Thierry Henry of Mayo football.
I'm gutted. I am gutted actually, but anyway.
Where are you?
I'm at the BBC on Sunday.
Final score?
Taking the Queen's shilling and not supporting his home county.
You're spot on there, Rich. Yeah.
No one watches final score.
I've got to be on. I'm in between Keon and Garth. I'll get Garth in the Mayo jersey.
I was just going to say,
don't you worry about that. I'm bringing my Mayo jersey in for Garth as well again.
Where's Keon's family from again?
Galway.
Galway, is it?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
I know.
You got to both get a mention of that in. You have to.
Lads, the snooker final always makes me feel a bit melancholic. Guaranteed, it's always a sunny day, and it's over the Bank Holiday Monday, so you know the long weekend is nearly over. Says Pat the Hat. Yeah, nostalgic more for me than melancholic.
Always reminds me kind of older relatives. Snooker was mad among the elderly for a time as well.
Yeah.
It probably still is.
Yeah.
But I'd like older aunts and grand-aunts and stuff like that were mad for the snooker. Had a Dennis Taylor calendar in one of their houses as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
It wasn't as if he was in like suggestive shots or anything like that. He was just, you know, playing snooker shots.
The lesser for it. Dennis Taylor in some suggestive poses.
I must say as well that Sacred Hearts Girls' School won the All-Ireland Championship from Westport today, Joe. I've got to give them a mention as well, so fair play. It's one good thing for Mayo this week anyway.
Well, in Croke Park, was it?
No, I don't think it was, no.
Okay.
No, it was up in Dublin, though. It was up here, yeah.
Right.
No, the soccer.
Oh, okay, sorry, sorry.
Well, we'll talk GAA, Mayo, Galway, 8 o'clock with Billy Joe Padden and Ray Silk. And then the Stoke Sentinel are all over what's gone wrong at Stoke. So 10 years in the big time, they are gone. Interestingly, Charlie Adam was on BBC 5 Live last night. And, I mean, he's got to finish out the season with Stoke and got to go into the dressing room tomorrow. But that didn't stop him.
I could sit here and I could try and bum it up, and I missed a penalty up against Brighton and other things during the season that I could be accounted for. But the A's to the Z's are that lack of discipline from certain players has been embarrassing. And we as a group, and I could sit here and I could walk in that dressing room and tomorrow, and I might get a bit of stick, but you know what? I'll be brave enough to say that I'm honest. I'll be honest here tonight for the supporters, because listen, at the end of the day, I've had 6 great years at that club, and I could be honest with the manager, I could be honest with the chief executive, the chairman, whatever's been said to me tomorrow. But I think some players have been getting away with murder for a long time, and it is difficult for supporters because they only see what happens on the pitch, and on the pitch is where it does happen. But off the pitch, I think, let's say, we're in that situation because, listen, it's not just one or two. I think there's 4 or 5.
It does seem like it's been a toxic dressing room for some time. Shay Given was an off the ball last year, and he even said then, last year I was at Stoke, the transfer record was Mbula, the midfielder, for £18 million. He came in from Porto. He literally hasn't tried since he's been there. You have Sadio Berahino. Jack Butland then got in the act as well, and he was criticising recruitment. He said, I think the whole recruitment process needs to be looked at. He said, there's too many players who've come in, and never mind just not been good, they literally haven't played, it's been that bad. Berahino, this is me talking now, not Butland. Berahino, 11 games. They paid £12 million for him from West Brom. Hasn't scored once. Then Mbula, he cost £18 million on loan at Toulouse. And then Kevin Wimmer was the other hilarious one. From Spurs. Spurs bit the hand off them for 18 million sterling for Wimmer.
That's insane.
And now he's training with the reserves. So
the club put a statement out themselves this afternoon saying that they've gotten it completely wrong. They should have sacked Mark Hughes as one of the key lines in it earlier than they did. And also their recruitment, they say, was way off, and it got away from what they call the core values.
It is, and what they didn't have this season, what they've had in recent seasons, and people probably laugh at it at times, but what they always had the fallback was Glenn Whelan, John Walters, Peter Crouch, whoever it was. They had the fallback plan that they played these lads who they knew were reliable, they do the jobs, and that's why by letting Walters, by letting Whelan, and by letting maybe others go as well, that's what's it's hindered them. I was with Shay at the weekend, Shay Given on Saturday, and Shay was very strong on that particular subject as well. Recruitment is something, it's obviously been said within that dressing room. If Butland, if Charlie Adam, if Shay's been saying it, they've all been around that club over the last few years. Every one of them saying recruitment, lads tossing it off, not necessarily giving a damn. And I think if it's if those lads are saying it, they're obviously seeing it every day, and it's obviously been spoken about in that dressing room, and that's what's hindered them.
There's lads that Paul Lambert has kind of shoved to the periphery. Hesse obviously had his own problems when he was bumped out of the club before the end of the season.
Yeah, he's got problems. He's got personal problems.
He's got personal problems. But Ibrahim Afellay would be one of those players who has been noted, hasn't tried a jot in training or on the pitch, and he's found himself on the fringes as well. But scrolling through that squad, so much dead weight in there. It's unbelievable.
Massive wages as well, Rich.
And massive wages, and you can see why they've been dragged down into the trouble they have been this season.
Well, Peter Smith from the Stoke Sentinels right across it. He'll join us on the football show, and we'll have Andy West on from El Clasico, which was brilliant. It was a brilliant game. The latest, by the way, Liverpool fans on Ronaldo. Zidane says he's walking again just 48 hours later. The ankle is stable. He's going to be just fine. I mean,
he doesn't need to be fine. He's still playing.
Yeah, I mean, he can play with a sprained ankle.
He'd be like Pele in Escape to Victory, walking out there with cracked ribs and still pulling off the overhead kick to win the game. It's a draw, though.
Speaking of snooker memories, this is so true. The slowed down sound of a kick on the cue ball is burnt into my memory banks. The BBC love a good slow motion video of the white ball jumping ever so slightly. Phil and Kells. I have that etched to my brain as well. I do. John Parrott saying, "Oh, it's a kick. As if someone had died.
And then they wait for the replay. It's like it's you wait in suspense just for 2 or 3 seconds before the replays. But oh, look at that! They get excited. They do. There's plenty of excitement.
There's nothing more outrageous than a kick.
Oh.
It shouldn't happen.
It's got to be the most soothing thing. It's probably something we should ask Shane because he was there. Like if you don't have one of the radios that's giving you the commentary in your ear while you're in the crucible, being there for a session must be the most soothing thing in the world. To sit there and just the clack of
Honestly,
balls,
I've been
shuffle.
3 times. It is class.
Is it?
It is absolute class.
Well, do you notice they're playing up to the crowd a bit more? John Virgo and the lads, they now know that everyone's listening to commentary, so they're getting laughs.
Yeah.
Like at one point, Mark Williams couldn't find his extension.
I'm not having that.
And he was looking around for his extension cue, and Virgo goes, I tell you what, if he can't find his extension, there's going to be an extension. And a bit like Kevin Kilban.
That's as good as it gets for Virgo.
A lot of
That's
people
good,
thought
though.
that was brilliant.
That's good, though, isn't it?
And a big laugh.
He's probably used that 2 or 3 times, hasn't he? But that's funny.
It's probably real snooker humour.
That's funny.
I tell you what, you want funny.
And even, Ted Lowe, the whispering Ted Lowe, who everybody does an impression of, So I remember there was a player called Neil Foles, and Neil Foles had, shall we say, questionable skin issues. Mm-hmm. So he went, Neil Foles approaches the table. Close-up of Neil Foles. Neil Foles, the makeup lady's nightmare.
Kills Kilban every time.
Oh my, but he has a gig on Eurosport.
Can we get the other one? I could listen to that radio one all day. We'll get the one where he's talking
Neil
about
Foles,
the lady killer. Anyway.
Oh, no, I want the Tony Knowles one.
Tony Knowles.
Tony
There's
Knowles.
been a call for Tony Knowles, please. # snooker memories. So Ronnie O'Sullivan 8:40, GAA 8 o'clock, Pat Nevin 7:30. And this, of course, as usual, is the news round. We are here with Air, the home of Air Sport. Get amazing live sporting content free with Air Broadband. Richie, you're starting with this relegation do or die 6-pointer.
Yeah, the Liberty Stadium hosts that game with potentially huge relegation ramifications tonight, with Swansea taking on Southampton. Both sides in dire need of a win, but victory for either will definitely condemn West Brom to the Championship. The teams are in for this one. For Swansea, Lucas Fabianski starts in goal. Looks like they have a back 5 perhaps of Conor Roberts, Colin Naughton, Federico Fernandez, Alfie Mawson, and on the left Martin Olsen. In midfield, Ki Sung Young, Andy King and Sam Clucas, with the Ayew brothers Andre and Jordan up front. For Southampton, 2 changes for them from the game with Everton at the weekend. Alex McCarthy starts in goal. A back 5 of Cedric, Jan Bednarek, Wesley Hutt, Jack Stevens and Ryan Bertrand. In midfield then Oriol Romeo, Emil Højbjerg and Dusan Tadic and Nathan Redmond are either side of Charlie Austin with kickoff at 7:45.
Southampton have won just one of their last 10 matches. Swansea, no wins in 7. They're in terrible form and they're feeling cranky.
Yeah.
Well, Carlos Carvalhal has managed 17 teams since 1998, I saw. Yes. So he's just he doesn't care what happens. He's out of here one way or another. That's his thing. Mark Hughes is feeling very cranky. After the Everton game, he was given out about a free kick given against Nathan Redmond. And
shouldn't have been a free, to be fair.
Hughes says, John Moss, as he usually is...
Not the drummer from Culture Club.
No. John Moss, as he usually is, was 30 yards behind play, decided to give a free kick. And then they said, have you spoken to John Moss? He said, what's the point? He's getting his breath back. There is a... ongoing rumour about John Moss that he does give frees to catch up with the play. That's a John Moss tactic.
Is that what they're saying? Who said that, John? Who said that?
That's slanderous.
That's terrible.
Which I disagree with.
Good.
Oh, good. Yeah, I knew you disagreed with that.
And we, as a company, distance ourselves from wholeheartedly, Joe.
Well, I think Mark Hughes has done more to damage his reputation than I have done.
Yeah, I think that's... But
it's a bit nasty.
I think Southampton, you mentioned there's one win in how many, Joe, was it? But I think the recent weeks they've showed form. They should have got that 3 points against Everton at the weekend.
Everton, yeah.
Good win against Bournemouth the week before. I think they come into this game in a total different mindset, I suppose, than Swansea, because Swansea, I don't think they scored in the last 3 as well, Joe. No. So it's the goals. Jordan Ayew, the goals have dried up for him a little bit, and he was having a real good. He was kicking on when Carvalhal first took over.
The other thing is Swansea are giving Southampton the old welcome to hell treatment.
They 100% are. Swansea suddenly think they're in Istanbul. The Swansea Marriott Hotel has rejected the accusation it cancelled Southampton's reservation to help Swansea ahead of tonight's relegation 6-pointer. Southampton booked 40 rooms for tonight's game, but instead they've had to stay over half an hour away near Cardiff. The hotel, for their part, says the cancellation was due to a small number of associates and guests becoming ill, and that the Environmental Health Organisation was informed. Meanwhile, it's reported that the police escort that Southampton were expecting to guide them through rush hour traffic was also cancelled. Despite that, Adam Leach of the Southern Daily Echo says Southampton still arrived ahead of time tonight, but they were told they'd have to wait on the bus for around 25 minutes as the Swansea bus unloaded. Mark Hughes just told the driver to stop, and led the players up to the ground on foot. Don Revy.
Yes.
Love
Don
it.
Revy.
Love it.
You'd like that in your manager, right?
Yeah.
Off we get. We're walking up.
Yeah, I'd like that as
Take
well.
a note tonight.
Yeah, I would really like that. Get off and just get on with it. Yeah, no messing. Really,
Interesting.
really good. I believe as well, in relation to the hotel as well, and I think this is true, Southampton, what they do, they travel with specific mattresses for certain players. So they travel with, how many we do in a match day squad? 20 players, 20 mattresses.
Yeah.
So there'll be a bus that'll go up, bus load of mattresses. They'll take the hotel. They'll take the hotel mattress out of the hotel and put the bed as the player would want it with his own mattress.
I think that's fair enough, actually.
Yeah, I believe they do that every game. Yeah.
You get very different mattresses in different hotels.
Yeah. Well. Yeah,
Sleep's
I
important.
understand.
I know
What's your favourite hotel mattress, Joe?
I know you're rolling your eyes, Richie, and a Team Sky have tried this one kind of a way, but I think sleep's important. I think that's a fair
Marginal
enough thing.
gains.
Marginal
Is that
gains
what you're
are
after?
crucial. Yeah. Martin Keown should have played for Ireland lads. Both parents are Irish. Father set up the GAA club in Oxford. I didn't realise that.
Martin played.
His father set up the GAA club in Oxford, and his sister lives in Galway.
I couldn't believe it, and
Thanks, Jim.
spoke to Martin. Sorry, I spoke to Martin about it as well. I was like, well, Martin, why didn't you? No. When his son played at under 21s for us. Martin's son, Niall, isn't it? So he's played at our under 21s. But I was so surprised, given Martin's background as well.
Is he passionate about his Irish background?
No, not at all.
Right.
Wouldn't necessarily. I think he's actually more passionate. Well, of course, playing for England, but he's quite strong. He's in England when he's talking about them. But no, I think
his England cap came at a time when England weren't necessarily that stacked with centre halves, and we were.
Yeah.
So we had Moore and McCarthy, Paul McGrath would have been in there, Lawrence would have just been after going. So we were, we're okay. Whereas England were starting to thin out after Italy 90.
You'd have think though, he still would have. We would
have taken him.
Yeah, definitely.
Kev, let's bring you some more #snooker memories.
Oh.
Tony Knowles, young, 6'2", incredibly handsome. He knows his prowess with the women.
What has that got to do with snooker? There's a man in a dicky bow holding a stick, and Ted Lowe is going,
He likes the lady.
It's Kevin Godan's favourite piece of radio.
Oh, that's the best stuff we produced, I tell you.
Ever. It's good. So, where are we going next, Rich?
6 more sides having ambitions of joining Derry in the semi-finals of the EA Sports Cup this evening. Holders Dundalk, they welcome Bohemians to Oriel Park. Waterford make the trip to Sligo, and there's the all First Division meeting of Cove and Longford Town. While the Republic of Ireland under-17s have given themselves renewed hope of making the quarter-finals of their European Championships, a 5th-minute strike from Troy Parrott gave Colin Bell's side a 1-0 win over Denmark at St George's Park today. Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane were both in attendance, and it follows on from Saturday's 2-0 defeat to a Belgium side that are up against Bosnia this evening. O'Brien gave his assessment of today's game to the FAI.
I think it was just a real team performance. I thought it was a real positive start, good goal. Should have had a couple of goals in the second half. Something we need to, take those opportunities. Especially, at 1-0, there's always a chance of set play or a break that the team can counter on you. So that's something we need to get better at. But some of our defensive structure in the second half, even though the Danes had a lot of the ball, they found it difficult to penetrate, and everybody stood up in a real magnificent team performance.
Collie O'Brien there, of course. Thank you, Kev.
I'm not one to pull you up on your mistakes, Richie. Honestly.
Belgium, by the way, 1-0 up against Bosnia. Yorba Vertassen with the goal for them at the moment.
Keith Andrews on his show last week. I was sitting in with him. Said this team very, very good. This under-17s Irish team play really good football. Split the centre halves and all that malarkey. Get the ball down. Meanwhile, let's move on. The rich get richer.
They do, or at least continue to pull in the same huge amount of money. Dublin GA announcing an extension of its sponsorship deal with AIG reported that the renewal of their deal will continue to see Dublin pocket €800,000 a year. The new deal will see the insurer continue to sponsor all Dublin sides, including the Camogie and Ladies Football, until November of 2023. AIG will also have naming rights to the new performance centre at Parnell Park.
Hell of a deal. I saw Leitrim there getting about 20 grand a year for their
shirt sponsorship.
Yeah.
Slight disparity.
Well, I know obviously it's a bigger deal with AIG, but it's unbelievable revenue to be able to generate. Where are we going next?
The semi-finals in the Electric Ireland Munster Minor Football Championship are both taking place this evening. Holders Kerry taking on Cork at Austinstack Park, and Tipperary hosting Clare in Thurles. Meanwhile, the World Cup hosts have been fined by FIFA for racist chants made towards France players. FIFA has fined the Russian Football Union 30,000 Swiss francs or €25,000 for chants made by fans during a March friendly with France in St. Petersburg. It's the third claim brought against fans at the same stadium this season alone, with the city to host 7 games in the finals, including a semi-final and the 3rd and 4th place playoff.
Now this next story, is this Daniel Taylor in The Guardian again leading?
He led this one, It follows on from a story we heard, I think back in January of this year. 9 former Chelsea footballers are now alleging the club has a racist bullying culture in the 1980s and 1990s. 7 black players claim they suffered racial abuse by 2 ex-youth coaches, while 2 former teammates, white teammates that is, say they're disgusted by what they saw. One anonymous victim says he was denied a Players Player of the Year award despite being told that he'd won. 2 of their white teammates have also now spoken out. One of them is former left back Gary Baker, who explains why no one spoke out at the time.
Nowadays, with the youth academies and that, you've got so many coaches, physios, sports science. In those days, you had one person that was kind of controlling the whole situation, so you weren't going to risk losing your career.
Meanwhile, Chelsea say they will respond to these allegations, say they'll support those affected, and that claims they'll be fully investigated. 2 Premier League defenders have been confirmed to miss the World Cup. Arsenal say France defender Laurent Koscielny has ruptured his Achilles. He'll miss 6 months as a result. He's said to be devastated, obviously enough, while Liverpool defender Joe Gomez has been ruled out of England's campaign and indeed the Champions League final, of course, as he requires ankle surgery. Meanwhile, Arsenal's outgoing manager was asked today how many job offers he's received since announcing his departure from the Emirates.
Quite more than I expected. At the moment I focus on doing well my job. I didn't even analyze anything or consider anything, you know. I want to work well until the last day of my contract, and then after I will think about it, rest a little bit and think about where I go from there. What is for sure, I will be active. My brain demands work and is active, and I have a huge experience of management and subtlety in people management. So overall I will work. What will I do? I don't know yet.
It's going to be extremely interesting to see what level he pitches up at.
Yeah.
There would have been a time, even not very long ago, where PSG would have welcomed him with open arms. It would have suited him down to the ground, I'm sure, to go back to France. Real Madrid were courting him for a long time, obviously. You feel both of those now are beyond him?
Probably, yes. PSG, perhaps, he may still have leaks. He does a lot. He does a lot with being sports. Thomas Tuchel, that's the one.
Fait accompli with that job. The France international job is probably the one that would... I don't know if it would suit him, because he talks about going out in the green grass day to day and
that's the interesting thing about Wenger. He still took training every single day, and Ferguson stood back in a huge way, but Wenger kept taking training.
He said that's the line he said today. He loves walking out in the green grass every day, and he loves taking training. And an international job
could you see a China? Or a big payday out in China.
But he's done it before, to be fair. He was with Nagoya Grampus 8 when, the
interesting, you see, Iniesta supposedly going to Japan as well. Could he get a big money move back to Japan or something?
Wenger's made the guts of 10 million sterling a year for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Especially if he's talking about his brain demanding high-level work.
Yeah.
He needs to go Champions League territory.
Maybe you're right. Would one of the German clubs, one of the big German clubs, want to take him?
Dortmund, I think, already have a new coach for next season.
That's it, yeah.
And so Kovac has gone to Bayern, so they're both sewn up.
Yeah.
It's hard to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, he did say at the time being there's no real desire to stay in England. Maybe that changes if he gets desperate. But then, what jobs are he going to get in England? Like, he's not going to get a top 4 job.
I don't think he's going to be desperate. I just think, the top jobs, that top level job with the Real Madrids, Bayern, Borussia Dortmunds are all gone.
Yeah, well, I doubt very much whether he'd get one of the... No, you look at Chelsea, certainly won't get Tottenham. Then you're looking elsewhere. It wouldn't get a top 6 club in England, no.
I guess we'll see. I don't think anyone's surprised if he pitches up somewhere for next season. Liam Sharkey in Wexford. Mark Hughes walking them off the bus reminds me of Liam Griffin getting the Wexford team off the bus on the Wexford border in '96 on the way to Croker. Made them walk across, told them the next time they crossed the border they'd have Liam McCarthy with them. Legendary. I hadn't heard that before. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He walked them out of Wexford.
The border, yeah. Mark Hughes telling them, saying, next time we walk back from here, we'll be 3 points clear the relegation zone.
Yeah.
Well, they're safe. They win tonight. Southampton win. That goal difference is too big of a swing, so I think they're done.
Let's do it for the people of Southampton, he did not say. So, I'm sure no one's ever said, come on, Kev.
Scoffing at the people of Southampton, John. That's a thumbing his nose.
Honestly.
At the people of Southampton.
At the people
well, I think you only need to see the reaction from one or two of the Stoke players this weekend to say, look, they're
scoffing at the complete lack of relationship, the fakery of the relationship that Mark Hughes and the Southampton players have with the people of Southampton.
Joe, honestly.
Are you telling me that the Southampton players are saying in that dressing room, the people of Southampton deserve this?
Emil Højbjerg and Wesley Holt could be saying that, Joe.
Sure, that's been mentioned. You do it for the fans.
Oh, there we go.
Of course.
Everybody by the banks of the Solent wants this one tonight, Joe.
Come on. You see, there's still an element of that it has to be.
Oh no, yeah, sure, yeah. No, absolutely. I believe.
Well, yeah, honestly.
Okay, the Giro is ongoing.
Yeah, quick update first of all, though. Cork taking a 6 points to 1-2 lead over Kerry in that Munster Minor semi-final, and there was a 15-minute delay to Tip and Clare, Tip getting the first score of that match. And as you mentioned, the Giro d'Italia reaching its fourth stage today. Team Wellens won today's stage. The Belgian led home a sprint into the town of Caltagirone. BMC rider Rowan Dennis wears the leader's Maglia Rosa with the 1 second lead over Tom Dumoulin. Dennis's BMC teammate Nicholas Roach is now 37th on general classification. And the Ireland cricket team could become the first test side to visit Pakistan since 2009. The sides will make history this week regardless, with Ireland playing their first ever test match. That's against Pakistan in Malahide. And it's believed the Pakistan Cricket Board are on the verge of extending an offer for Ireland to visit the country later this year. Cricket Ireland say, of course, security issues will be a major factor in how they handle said offer.
Richie, thanks for that. That's the news round for this evening. Before we get to Pat and Evan, I should tell you Bank of Ireland are giving over their jersey sponsorship to the Irish Heart Foundation for the Guinness Pro 14 semi-final between Leinster and Munster on the 19th of May. It's to mark the launch of the CPR for Schools training programme, which now involves 300,000 school kids, an issue worth highlighting because approximately 5,000 people die of sudden cardiac arrest every year. Tonight we're giving away a pair of tickets for the game between Leinster and Munster. The prize includes pre-match hospitality plus an overnight stay in the Ballsbridge Hotel to be in with a chance of winning. Just identify our mystery voice who remembers, and we've all been there, feeling inadequate when training beside Dave McIntyre in the gym.
Couldn't do the stuff he did, so I had to keep it simple.
You can't stop him.
Couldn't do the stuff he did, so I had to keep it simple.
What an image that is, those two. Text your name and answer to 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce a winner later on in the show. So if you're just tuning in, we have Ronnie O'Sullivan for you around 20 to 9. We have Billy Joe Padden and Ray Silk talking Mayo Galway at 8. And next up, Pat and Evan.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with Air. Don't miss live and exclusive Premier League action this month on the Air Sport Pack.
Greetings, citizens. Our experiment has begun.
Modern technology, as we now know, has the power to liberate populations, but also to suppress them. And the number one weapon